Well, let's jump into game number 4, which is the match point game. Mike leading Mooshoo 2-1 in this Division B Group 4 Round 1 Best of 5 series. I think we all heard that noise. I think we know what that means. We've got the countdown coming in. And let's jump in to what is, as I just said, the match point. Now, before we start kicking all of this off, I apologize. I was a little bit confused by the labeling of the games on AOC Zone, where I got these games from. And the previous game that we just saw was actually meant to be the 4th game in the series. It was thought a bit strange that Mike decided to choose Nomad as his home map. Unfortunately, I had that all mixed up, and this was actually meant to be the home map of Mike. Mike chose Arena as his home map, but now we're just going to say that this is actually game 4 anyway. So welcome back, everyone, to what is quote-unquote the 4th game in the best of 5 series between Mike and Mooshoo, two Australian gentlemen competing in the Australian Open in the Division B category. They are sitting in Group 4. We're still in Round 1, but this is match point for Mike at the moment. Obviously, leading 2-1 means that if he secures this victory, he secures the victory for this set of games, and the map is Arena. Let's introduce the man himself, playing in the blue trunks over towards the eastern sort of area of the map is Mike, and he has chosen the Byzantines. Obviously, this was Hidden Civilization pick, so he's gone for the Byzantines as the as his civilization of choice. What do we have over to the west? Well, we have playing in the red trunks, Mooshoo, and he has chosen the Goths to play as today. Now, that's quite an interesting pick, and we will have a look and have a wee chat about those civilizations in just a moment's time. Let's first look at the maps. Now, normally on arena maps, or sometimes on arena maps, rather, some of the players might have some sort of a backyard, a back area into which they can boom, into which they can move, where there could be some extra resources for them. In this case, Mooshoo rather, has not lucked out, or has not got that lucky in that respect. He's got his berries to the back, obviously a wood line nice and secure at the back. Main gold a little bit towards the front of his base, a little bit detrimental for him if any aggression, any pressure comes in from Mike. This is going to be a very, very important area of his base to lock down, especially since there is a relic and there is also some stone out to the front of his base. More stone and another relic inside his walls. Really, really unfortunate for him as the Goths, because if he wants to get this relic, he has to delete the walls, and then he can't rebuild his stone wall at all. But another stone towards the front of his base, and again, another relic! Holy crap! Another relic for him stuck inside his walls. That's terribly, terribly unfortunate. Where is his extra golds? Well, he's got another gold out here, and I think we did not mention, but his 2 golds out on the front of his base as well. A little bit difficult for him, a little bit unfortunate, because as the Goths, you are probably wanting to look to go for an infantry sort of push, either Huskarls or champions. Now, you only need the stone for 1 castle to be able to get those researches that allows you to produce Huskarls from the barracks, so he only has to take the stone really enough, or 650 stone, and then he should be in a fine position. And what about Mike's map? Well, let's have a look. He's got his main gold very, very close to his walls, and that is going to definitely be harassable by any castle drop that might come in from Mooshoo around this area here. A stone mine toward the front of his base, and another stone mine also sitting right up against his walls. Really, really unfortunate for him. He's got gold out towards the back of his base, outside his walls, and another gold as well. So both of these maps for these players looking pretty crappy all round. I would give maybe the slight advantage to Mooshoo, seeing as though his gold may be slightly less harassable by any castle drops that could be coming in this area of the map here. Now, Byzantines, interesting civ pick. I don't think I've ever casted an arena matchup in which the Byzantines have featured as a civilization. They have one of the most varied and most fleshed out tech trees in the game. I think Spanish has a more fleshed out tech tree than them, or more technologies available to them rather, but it's just going to make it, it's going to be really interesting to see what Mike goes for here. I mean, a fast Imperial strategy is not something that you would normally expect to see from any civilization other than the Turks, but the Byzantines can pull it off quite well because they, for example, for a start, they do get chemistry. They can research chemistry and get hand cannons and bombard cannons, which is really the sort of unit choice you want to go for when you're doing a fast Imperial strategy. And they do also get the Imperial Age upgrade for cheaper over other civilizations as well. So that could be a strategy that Mike's wanting to go for. We'll have to keep an eye on what population he goes up on. We saw in the previous games between Shark Slayer and Hank that Shark being the Turks pulled off a very, very nice fast Imperial build, but then managed to fall prey to the Turkish power or the Turkish economy of his New Zealand counterpart. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see what both these players do decide to go for. I'm almost tempted to say that since Byzantines are a defensive civilization, they are just going to be wanting to go for a bit of a boom, throw up TCs, and try and lock down certain areas of their map and just keep their resources as safe as they can. In my opinion, a castle drop for Mike would be a really, really good idea somewhere out to the front of his base, or maybe even aggressive in this area of Mooshoo's base here, would lock down a stone, potentially start to give him a launching platform to start taking this gold of his, and also give him access to one of Mooshoo's golds as well. But for the time being, Mike is playing really, really strongly. 22 villages to 17. Mooshoo has had a little bit of idle time on his TC, it would seem. Maybe luring in the deer. He's not paying full attention to his TC and keeping it nice and active. But I'm not entirely sure what's happened to Mooshoo's start. Maybe it was just a terrible, terrible start. But we'll have to wait and see how that actually affects it as the game goes on. Now, relic placements. We've already gone over 3 relics because 2 of them are placed literally inside or in the walls here of Mooshoo. The remaining 2 relics are very, very close to Mike. So it looks like in terms of relics, if either of these guys are going to go for a monk push of sorts to get the relics, looks like a 3-2 relic advantage to our player in the red Mooshoo. But for the time being, both of these players 24 villages to 19 in favor of Mike for the time being. Both of them pushing in deer like true professionals, and both of them now, well, one of them at least going up. That is Mike, our blue Byzantine player, going up on 25 population, luring in the deer. Good number of farms seeded. He's going to be able to do a 25 plus 2 population fast castle quite easily. And is this a boar steel? Goodness gracious me, was that a boar steel coming in? Or was this just a boar lure from... No, that would have to be a boar steel because he's already taken 2 boar. We can see 1 carcass there already, which means that while Mike was busy luring in the deer, Mooshoo has gone ahead and just taken one of his boar, the cheeky wee badger. Again, something that I missed as I was talking about the relics. A little bit unfortunate, but it doesn't really matter. Mike is still up to the feudal age in a really, really nice time, and with the deer having been able to supplement his food income and a good number of farms seeded, as I mentioned, he should still be able to pull off a relatively effective, efficient, and quick fast castle build. 4 villagers going out to gold now for Mooshoo. 1 villager more than we would normally see in a standard fast castle build. Obviously, when they go for 3 villagers is the norm, grabbing loom, and he'll be able to click himself up to the feudal age potentially after that, owing to the fact that he did grab an extra boar off of his opponent. But the feudal age upgrade about to be completed for our player in the blue, and if we quickly switch over to his point of view, what are we going to see? Well, we're going to see he will definitely have the resources to be able to click up to the castle age, and his build seems to be pretty crisp, pretty efficient, and quite neat in my opinion. Market and a blacksmith being thrown up for him. He has not moved out to stone, so it almost looks like to me he is going to be wanting to boom this out and maybe use the Byzantines' cheaper Imperial Age upgrade to go for a pseudo fast Imperial build with at least more economy behind it, backing it up than you would normally see from a Turkish fast Imperial build, for example. Now he's just being a nuisance, exactly what Hank normally does as well, where he just keeps battering against these stone walls. And of course, unfortunately, the scout cavalry here from the Gothic player, Mooshoo, can't actually come out and stop this because 1 hit and he is absolutely dead. And Mooshoo clicking up to the feudal age now. Finally, 100 food needed for Mike to be able to click up to the castle age. He's got it now. I don't know what he did. Did he buy some food? I'm not sure, but he's up to the castle age with a 25 plus a little bit more than 2. 25 plus 3. 25 plus 3 fast castle for him, and he's clicked up, pardon me, in a nice time here as well. And like I said, I can only imagine, I can only assume that we're going to be seeing a boom coming in from him since he hasn't moved out to stone anywhere that I can see. So no petard busts are going to be coming in to push through the walls of his opponent here. Although maybe his scout cavalry, maybe that's what he's doing. He's weakening all the walls. He's weakening the defensive or the defensive structures around Mooshoo's base. Maybe he wants to get into Mooshoo's economy that way, but I don't think so. So again, Castle Age upgrade coming in, a 1603, not quite a perfect fast castle time. I believe is 1540 for a 29 villager up once you get into the feudal age. But 1603 is still going to be much faster than his opponent, who is still not even in the feudal age yet. And Mooshoo, unfortunately, lagging behind in these more meta standard sorts of maps, as we can clearly see here. A fast castle build, normally something that players are quite accustomed and quite comfortable to doing. He has gone up on 26 villages. I thought they said 27, but he's gone up on 26 villages, and he is throwing down a blacksmith, and he will be throwing down a market very soon as well. But slight differences in the build orders here, as he is going forward and building the market with only one villager, and he is sending that villager a long way to start building at markets. Oh no, he's sending two villagers, that's okay, but markets do take a lot longer, or longer to build than your blacksmith. So by the time this blacksmith has been completed, the market will not even be 50%, unfortunately. So just little details, little tiny itty bitty details to point out. As Mike now advances and reaches the castle age, what is he going to be doing? Well, if we switch over, we can see that he was sending a villager forward to build something, and that is a, wow, siege workshop and a monastery. Okay, that's not something I was expecting at all. So he is going to be going for the siege and monk push. Now, the fact that he's up into the castle age first means that any monks that come out are going to be pretty much uncontested in being able to grab those relics, those all-important relics on arena maps. I should have actually been able to pick that he wasn't going to be going for town centre since he hadn't split his lumber at all, and my mistake. I apologise to all my loyal viewers for that. But the monk and siege push, this is an exciting play. Where are his monks being sent straight away? Well, he hasn't actually set a gather point for them yet at all, so I don't know whether he's going to be going for the relics or whether he's just going to be going ham on the walls here of his opponent Mooshoo, who has now clicked up to the castle age, 26 villages compared to the 31 for Mike. So Mike, economically speaking, he is in a good position. I feel like Mike maybe needs a few more villages over on gold if he's going to want to keep the monks and also the mangonels coming out. Looks like he might be wanting to build another siege workshop or another monastery. Which one's it going to be, Mike? Which one's it going to be, buddy? Or is he going to tower hop? No, he's building a palisade wall. Is that okay? Building a palisade wall on the... Alright, that's... Yep, fair enough. Okay, building a palisade wall there. I'm not entirely sure why. There's probably some subtle arena reason for it. Normally, if you're building palisade walls with villages, going forward like this is for pathing, but pathing definitely not really important here. Not entirely sure what's actually going on there. Maybe Mike will give us a little bit of insight into what's going on there very soon. But a battering ram coming out, not even a mangonel, a battering ram coming out from our blue Byzantine player Mike here. And of course, the battering ram going to be able to punch through these walls very easily, very quickly, and very efficiently. So let's see how well this monk and siege push actually does happen. And if we switch over to Mooshoo's point of view, has he done any scouting of this? No, he's keeping his scout pretty inactive, to be completely honest with you, inside his base. It's fair enough because he does have very little HP on his wee scout cavalry here, but he should still be using his scout and scouting around, because if he had done that, he would have known, hey, if there's a monastery, there's a siege workshop being thrown up from my opponent, I need to start gearing my eco to be able to deal with this imminent pressure. A siege workshop being thrown up now would be fantastic for Mooshoo to be able to start defending against this. Again, in terms of monk upgrades, I'm not familiar with them. I'm not sure whether or not the redemption upgrade is one that the Byzantines can get, or the Goths either, but it would be a very important upgrade for these monk and siege fights. In saying that, we can see that this stone wall in the corner of Mooshoo's base, it's going down, man. It's going down, and that is it's going to be very difficult for Mooshoo to defend against, especially since we're on his point of view. We can see that he's going for a town centre, and I really disagree with that point as well. Double town centre coming up for him. Obviously, Goths want to get a nice boom going on. And there we go. That's answering my question. The monks for the Byzantine player do get redemption a very nice upgrade to be able to convert buildings and siege, as I've been so kindly reminded of many times during my times casting arena matches. And we can see the double town center. Like I said, Goths, yep, sure, they want to get a boom going. This is not the way to get a boom going. It's not the right time to get a boom going, especially if you've got monks and siege in your base. The barracks being thrown up for Mooshoo, though, potentially wanting to get out some scout cav or maybe even light cavs, which would be a fantastic counter to these monks and siege. Some pikes or spears being added into the fray here from Mike would just be completely potent. But at the same time, if he has enough monks out, then who really cares about the counters that would be the scout cav and light cavalry? A little bit sloppy here from Mike, running into the town centre of Mooshoo and losing one of his monks. What do we have on the front rather? Well, you can see that we have a monastery. Sorry, another monastery, a third monastery coming in from Mike. How many villages does he have on gold? Still not many villages over on gold as well. Instead, he's opted to go for an extra town centre, which is a very interesting option, considering I thought he'd be putting all of his eggs in the forward siege and monk push basket. But it seems like I'm not quite correct with that at all. I can only imagine that this ram is definitely going down, so I feel like I can switch over to Mike's point of view, and he's not keeping his monks coming out of those monasteries consistently or constantly. Another siege workshop being thrown up on the front as well, and I guess Mike doesn't want to put all of his eggs in that basket, in the forward siege monk basket, in case it fails and he falls flat on his face. At least he has some sort of an economy to fall back into, but for the time being it looks like he is in a very demanding position. He has one less town centre than his opponent, but he is still 22 villages ahead, and this is what we needed to see from the Goth player here. We needed to see the scout cavalry coming out, but light cav, get the light cav upgrade, get some upgrades on these puppies here, and really start to put the pressure on, or start to counter your opponent. But when you're bringing in villagers to start taking down the siege that's attacking your town centre, instead of having your villagers working, that's really not the position you want to be in, especially since obviously 80 food a pop, scout cavalry, not really the cheapest things that you can, pardon me, not really the cheapest units that he could be going for here, especially when most of his economy seems to be geared around wood, stone, and gold. He's only got a handful of farms and not enough farms at all to be able to keep the scout calves coming out constantly from these two stables that he is now going for. And this is hilarious. Mike doesn't actually have to kill any of the villagers here from Mooshoo. He just needs to go through and convert them in the village account, being traded one to the other. A lot of villages being lost for Mooshoo on account of the fact that they're actually being converted by these cheeky wee monks that are buzzing around in the back of his economy. And very soon he's going to be thinking, hey, where's all my wood going? And then he's like, oh crap, all my wood's gone because I don't actually have any wood cutters left because Mike has started to convert all of my units. Mangonel now coming in as well. Maybe Mike has realised that, hey, it's probably not going to be the easiest way for me to start taking down this town centre with a ram, because their villagers can just start getting in there and taking down the ram way too easily. But unfortunately, the Mangonel left unprotected. Unprotected siege. Let's not make this a thing. Siege lives matter as well, people. And what the hell is going on here? A watchtower, just to rub salt into the wound, add insult to injury. Mike is also going for a cheeky wee trush in the wood line of his opponent here. Now what we can see is that this fight is going to go down pretty well in favour of Mike, as he does have two monks healing his scout the whole time. Now for the time being, Mike has sort of run out of oomph, he's run out of steam, he's run out of puff, but it doesn't matter, because with the 68 villager lead over 37 that he's holding over his opponent for the time being, he is going to be in a fantastic position to be able to close this game out very soon. Like I said, in my opinion, more villagers over to gold so that he could really put the pressure on with a heck of a lot of monks and a heck of a lot of siege to be able to start pushing into his opponent here would be fantastic to see. But as I say that, at the same time, it's not really looking too good for Mooshoo here. He put up two extra TCs, expecting to be able to boom back into this game, but that is not happening at all. We can see that his farming eco, or his eco, is not as big as he really needs it to be, or as big as it should be for having 3 town centers. Mike, on the other hand, still, I believe, only up on 2 TCs. Yes, only up on 2 TCs, and he has managed to grab how many relics? At least one. We definitely know he has at least one. In fact, it's only one. He has only one relic, and now Mike also trying to be a little bit lame, a little bit of a BM player, and try and wall in these stables from his opponent as well. Obviously, if these stables are rendered useless, then the siege, the monks, are just going to be able to roam very freely throughout Mooshoo's base. And now it looks like Mike is actually trying to grab that relic. You can't grab it, mate. It's actually in the wall, as unfortunate and as unlucky as it actually is. A barracks now being thrown up by one of, I believe, the converted villagers. Such that he can start getting out some spearmen just in case this little lamer boy, this little walling fest here doesn't actually pay off for him. Then he can at least get some counter units out to counter the scouts. That are slowly picking through his siege and monk push. Now, like I said, I don't really see too much of a way back at this time for Mooshoo. He's starting to get a few more farms up at the back of his economy, but he is got 6 villages idle and a forward castle. Oh, a defensive castle. Okay, I mean, we saw him mining stone down here, and he's bringing forward a defensive castle, and it's delaying the inevitable. To be completely honest with you, it's just delaying the inevitable. At this stage in the game, when it's 86 villages to 34, this castle can go up, sure, fine. It's not going to do anything because Mike can just switch his attention and start punching holes in this wall here. We saw how easy it was for him to get in here. I mean, Mike, he's going to be clicking up to the Imperial Age soon once he gets his university up, although he doesn't actually need a university up at all, but once he gets his university up and sells a little bit of this excess resource, he's going to be able to get up to the Imperial Age. Then he's going to be able to get, for example, chemistry, get out bombard cannons from his siege workshops, and he's going to be able to just completely destroy everything that Mooshoo once held dear. So like I said, it's delaying the inevitable. This area of Mooshoo's economy, sure, it's nice and safe, fantastic. What about this area down here? There is absolutely nothing defending the economy down here for Mooshoo except a couple of town centers, which with Mike going up to the Imperial Age is not really going to scare him at all. Now, how many town centers did Mike go up on? Well, he's still only on 2 TCs, so of course over his opponent, assuming that the villages, assuming the town centers were not idle, 50 less food is being spent every 25 seconds for Mike. Potentially a reason as to how he's managed to get up to the Imperial Age a little bit quicker, but of course we can't neglect the fact that the Byzantines do have cheaper upgrade times to the Imperial Age, or cheaper upgrade costs to the Imperial Age. But this is something that Mike, you cheeky bastard. This is not something I was going to say that Mike really needed to do. He doesn't need to go ahead and start trying to take down this castle. But if he can get away with it, if he can just keep this ram hidden and behind the castle here, such that Mooshoo doesn't actually pay attention and realize that it's there, this castle is going to go down eventually. And again, that's just going to be the inevitable is going to happen as well. Now, what do we have here? We have some siege, some archery ranges coming up rather, and I don't see any upgrades on any. Do we see fletching? No, we see no fletching. Is he going to go straight for the hand cannon route? Well, I can see why he would, but at this stage you could just pick an army composition. And to be completely honest with you, it's going to be totally fine to be able to take down anything that that Mooshoo is going to be able to field. Now we can see one Huskarl coming out. It's completely unupgraded. It's literally just there to start taking down these rams. Oh, to be fair, there's another Huskarl coming out too, so maybe the hand cannon switch for Mike, and like what we saw in the previous game, maybe the hand cannon option is what he's going to be going down here as well. Obviously the Byzantines are able to get chemistry, and we'll have to keep an eye on the spectator overlay or the researchers in the top right corner there just to see whether or not that is what Mike is going to be going for. Now let's see, he's got to the Imperial Age now. What upgrades? Chemistry right away, so we are going to be seeing hand cannons, we are going to be seeing bombard cannons, and that is a fantastic unit choice. Bombard cannons to rip through these castles, rip through these town centers and such, and hand cannons just to counter any infantry that that Mooshoo rather is looking at throwing down. We can see padded archer armor coming in now as well, so it's definitely hand cannons, it's definitely bombard cannons that are going to be coming out for the blue Byzantine player Mike, and he hasn't actually managed to wall this up. I think the scouts can still get out here, but that doesn't quite matter. Siege Workshop being thrown up in the economy here for Mooshoo, and I think he realizes that it is over. It has been over for quite some time. The Imperial Age upgrade here from Mike has more or less just sealed the deal and shut him down completely. Of course, 853 food, 400 odd gold means that he is nearly able to click up to the Imperial Age. Unfortunately, I can only imagine that is because his town centres have been somewhat idle for quite some time, as is reflected also in the villager lead, where it is 60 villagers in favour of Mike. Now let's see, once chemistry completes in 2-1 time, what is Mike going to start creating? Is it going to be hand cannons? Is it going to be bombard cannons? Let's hope that he's not going to make me look like a complete twat here. Let's just keep cycling through those buildings. I can't see anything like that coming up just yet. Now please, Mike, please, please, please get something like bombard cannons out. That would be fantastic to see. Well, he's getting one hand cannon, so at least I'm right there. He is throwing up a bunch more siege workshops and archery ranges just outside the gates, or just outside the walls here of Mooshoo. The siege workshops is really what he needs for the time being. If he takes down this castle and takes down the town centres, then there is really nothing that Mooshoo can do. I mean, I say that there is literally nothing that Mooshoo can do now as well. I think we saw anarchy potentially coming in just before, which means that the barracks are going to be also important, also valuable for Mooshoo here, since maybe he sees the archery ranges and he thinks, oh, okay, Mike is going to be going for archery units. What count as archery units? Well, Huskarls are fantastic at countering archers. They're not so fantastic at countering hand cannons. There's going to be 27 base damage done against the Huskarls, so 21 damage overall, and we can see that the hand cannons just absolutely rip through these Huskarls. A couple of shots and the Huskarls are dead. Unfortunately, these battering rams here are able to soak up quite a lot of the fire from the hand cannons, but this could be devastating. A couple of mangonel shots on these archer-based units is going to be fantastic to see for Mooshoo. But Siege Ram coming in now as well for Mike, and I can see where he's coming from. I mean, Siege Rams, sure, they're very, very super strong, very efficient and effective at taking down buildings, but he'd already researched chemistry. Why did he sink the food into going for the into the siege ram upgrade when he could have used it instead on hand cannons, which would have been able to come here and start countering any of the Huskarls that were coming out from your opponent, and just sink those extra resources, that extra time, into going bombard cannons to really start taking down these buildings from afar. But it doesn't really matter. There's not really a wrong decision, or a decision that can cost Mike the game from here. 108 villages to 55. Again, pretty much double the villages. Double the villages of his opponent is what the advantage that Mike holds over Mooshoo for the time being. And again, these siege rams, if he sends them in one by one, eventually they will get whittled down by these Huskarls. Again, still completely unupgraded. The Imperial Age upgrade, what about that for Mooshoo? That's literally the only thing that could save him, if anything now, but I think it's too little, too late. Sure, these archery ranges are going down, but it doesn't matter for Mike because he has rebuilt 5 archery ranges back here at home. He's also got a siege ram stuck, which is really, really unfortunate for him. Mike even building a forward castle, maybe he wants to get Trebs out to start taking out the castles instead of the bombard cannons. Again, I'm not sure on that decision. Bombard cannons and hand cannons would have finished this game off a long, long time ago. Mike using a little bit of market magic here as well, and it's starting to get a little bit annoying to cast because this is well and truly over, and it's it's more or less just being dragged out, unfortunately. Mooshoo not wanting to throw in the towel just yet. Obviously at this stage it was actually, I believe, 1-1. I think the score was actually meant to be 1-1, just, you know, based on the fact that I kind of messed up the game recordings there. Mike being a little bit sloppy, losing 4 or 5 hand cannons here, but the castle is built. Are we going to see a trebuchet coming out straight away? Please tell me we're seeing a trebuchet coming out straight away. We're not seeing a trebuchet coming out straight away. Oh my goodness, he's building another castle as well. There is well and truly no escape for a red goth player here at Mooshoo. He is going to be completely trapped, literally completely trapped and completely pinned into what is about to become his eternal grave. All we need to see now is another castle or something from like that coming up over here for Mike, and he will be in a really good spot to completely have boxed his opponent into his base. And again, what else are we seeing? No trebuchets. Are we seeing any bombard cannons? No, we're not. We're just seeing a lot of siege rams. But it looks like the economy is not really there for Mooshoo to be able to create any more Huskars out of that castle to stop his castle going down, which means that he has called GG, recognizing that he is well and truly past it. He is too far gone. He cannot claw this victory back. And even though I messed up the order of the games, and once again I apologize to it, the result is still the same, whereby we have Mike taking that best of 5 series quite convincingly in the end, where we have a 3-1 victory to the man himself.